Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of my Road to a 2-plate bench press series. We are going to pretend that it did not take me a month to get this video up from the last video. I'll probably just give a rundown of what this session was and then answer some of the questions from the last video. This is a primary bench session. I'm 3 weeks out from a powerlifting competition, and this session was a great confidence builder. I hit 190 to comp standard, which is the most I've ever done with commands. Everything I've hit over 185 until this day had been touch and go, so to know that I'm capable of hitting a pretty decent paused 190 with my butt on the bench, my heels on the ground, and all that was awesome. I'm going to go ahead and call it that I think I'm pretty capable of around 200 right now, touch and go. I don't know if I'll do that this block, just with the powerlifting meet and everything, but I think next block, with another 10 weeks of training, I might even be able to pause that. And 200 feels a lot closer to 225 than 195 does, so I am thrilled with that. Here's my last warm-up at 185. This moved super well, so we moved up to 190. I'm super happy with my progress on building up my strength off the chest. Benching with a weak chest and weakness in the bottom of the bench just friggin' sucks. Here's the top single. Yeah, like I said, super happy with how this moved. Pretty hefty pause. Great success. Somebody on the last video wanted me to talk a little bit about what it's like getting big and strong as a woman, and I think that's an interesting question, especially for me. I clearly live with Sam and Max, so the mentality at home is eat big, get big. So in terms of when I'm around Sam and Max, it's really easy, because that pressure is in the opposite direction. You're kind of a pussy if you go on a diet. Growing up figure skating, just because of my bone structure, I always felt like I was too big, and no matter what I did, I don't feel like I ever felt like I was fitting into the physical mold of what was expected of a figure skater. So I think by the time I started lifting, I was really sick of that. So to answer the question, I surrounded myself with people who think it's cool to get big and strong, and that's been probably the biggest factor to why I'm just excited to get big and strong and not really very hesitant about it. I also think it helps to know that there is a range of body fat percentage I can stay in and get bigger and stronger, or maybe cut back a little bit, do a mini cuts, all that sorts of stuff, which I'll probably need to do in the future. And I also am willing to acknowledge that as a natural lifter, I'll probably need to push the envelope more in terms of pushing the body fat percentage in the future in order to make more gains once I've hit some sort of plateau with what I'm doing right now. But somebody replied to this question and said that they were worried that I would hop on PEDs because my goal is to turn heads and bench 2 plates, and I wanted to address that really quickly and say that PEDs are not in my game plan. There's a lot of women that I look up to who are on the powerlifting and also on the bodybuilding side that take PEDs, and I don't have any, moral issue with it or anything. I just see lifting as a mode for self-improvement and also to push my own limits, and I don't see PEDs being necessary for either of those things. And I'd be lying if I said that the health and masculinizing effects weren't scary, so based on a cost-benefit analysis, it doesn't make sense for me. Plus, I really just feel like I have a lot of room to grow, and I don't really feel like I've even scratched the surface of my potential. I think I don't have bad genetics for strength, but I do think I have reasonably good genetics for hypertrophy. So I think I'm just really optimistically curious as to what 8 to 10 years of high-level natural lifting can look like for me. So that's really the basis of why. So here's my application to join the Noble Natties someday. Somebody else asked how to grow your arms. I think first you should probably make sure that every set that you're doing is meaningfully hard, so nothing is like a RPE 5 minus. And then after that, you could increase the number of sets you're doing per week. That's a really good way to just slowly increase the stimulus of an exercise. And then also, I would like to throw in that I really like doing incline curls. I saw a lot of good progress from doing those. The next question was about my goals for my lifts other than my bench. Obviously, as I transition more towards hypertrophy-centric training, I'm going to keep the bench programming the exact same because I do have that goal of benching 2 plates, but I am going to switch more to a hypertrophy focus on the squats and the deadlifts. I actually switched from low bar to high bar recently. I just really hate low bar, and I had a tweak in my back, and even though I'm a couple weeks out from a powerlifting meet, I was like, I don't want to try to figure out how to make low bar work. I'm just going to squat high bar, take the L on the comp PR there, and then keep moving forward. I did many years of low bar and saw no gains in my quads. I just had big legs because I have my fat stored there. I did not have any leg muscle. I had some hamstrings from doing hamstring curls, but switching to high bar just makes sense for enjoyment and also hypertrophy reasons. And also there's no reason I can't go back to a powerlifting meet in a couple months and, beat what I had done low bar, because it's not that good. And then also I'll probably keep deadlifts in. Deadlifting is cool, and people who deadlift a lot are cool. So I'm not going to stop deadlifting. In terms of specific numbers, I don't really have any specific numbers in mind. I passed the 3-plate mark on the deadlift, which I was trying to do for a really long time. I feel like putting on more muscle will make the lifts feel better, and then I'll be able to push them harder and get stronger at them. So I think that's super exciting. The next question is about how, last video I had talked about how I really leveled up my effort in the gym. They asked if I felt like I was working hard previously, how did I know that I wasn't actually working hard? And I think there's kind of, there's levels to working hard in the gym. For example, Sam and Max work disgustingly hard in the gym to where I think most people wouldn't enjoy training with them. I couldn't even lift in the same gym with Sam for a while when I first started lifting, just because the level of intensity was so drastically different that it was just kind of frustrating for both of us. I think as I've gotten further in lifting, we now can lift at the same time, but I'm still not lifting so intensely that I can, hop into a session with Sam yet. Someday maybe, but he trains crazy hard, so I knew that I wasn't training as hard as possible. But I think it is hard because it is subjective, and everyone feels like they are working hard in the gym. I think it's important to be able to look back and say, am I working harder now than I was 6 months ago? And if the answer is no, I really don't think that you're working as hard as you possibly could be. So maybe looking for ways to improve, stepwise. You don't have to be the hardest, most intense, worker in the gym, but just the fact that you're making progress towards being that guy, if that's what your goals are, is what matters. Also, it's not an option for a lot of people, but if there is someone that you can train with who does train harder than you, or you might suspect they might train harder than you because you have better variables than them and they're stronger than you or something like that, it might be eye-opening to get a session in with them and see really what their workouts look like and what their effort looks like. I'm gonna end this video by telling you guys about one of my newfound favorite exercises that biomechanics dorks will tell you is bad, and I say they're wrong, is the V-handle row. It is so good. I have been needing to bring up my mid and upper back for a while with horizontal pulling. My vertical pulling, pretty good. My horizontal pulling, bad. So I started doing those. I've been sore for like 3 or 4 days every single time I've done those, because you can do those pretty dang heavy, and I feel like the mind-muscle connection is great. So don't listen to dorks and do V-handle rows. The end.